This is Jalen and Jacoby exclusively for YouTube. Make sure you check YouTube for the exclusive Jalen and Jacoby content. And Jalen, I can't believe we're doing this. We're celebrating the Pistons today on YouTube because you were in the house as your Pistons beat the Brooklyn Nets. Jalen, what did you see from your squad?
The first thing that stood out is that they consistently play hard. And of course, our record is terrible, but Dwayne Casey gets them to play well against the top teams in the league. The first thing, however, that stands out is Jeremy Grant chose to play in Detroit versus with the Denver Nuggets. It was the same money on the table. He wanted more opportunities, which he's getting. Had a 32-point game, which is his career high. More 30-point games this year than he's had his entire career. But he also wanted to play in a city that was predominantly black. And I appreciated somebody in the NBA choosing my hometown to play basketball for their career.
And I'm glad that we got to celebrate the Pistons because we know that this game is not about the Pistons, it's about the Brooklyn Nets, and that Nets defense continues to be a problem. They gave up so many points in transition like this one. They gave up so many points in the paint. They gave up 40 first half points in the paint. Jalen, when we saw this team form, you and I kind of felt like, you know what? Defense is going to be a problem, but that offense is going to be a bigger problem for the other team, but it hasn't necessarily shook out that way early. Will this be a problem for them moving forward?
It will be a problem moving forward. I see my nephew Josh Jackson out there making plays, Wayne Ellington, the league future MVP out there getting open shots. And I'm like, wait a minute. The Nets are extremely bad defensively. If we get a rebound or a steal, we're going to score. If you beat your man and you get to the paint, it ain't no drive and kick. It's layup and dunk. And so they got to shore that up. They weren't playing with KD, but still, your two best players like last night, Kyrie and Harden, have to be competitive playing defense. Now, Brown, for the Nets, he plays D. I was at the game. I was watching. He plays D. Now you got to get your better players to buy in.
Well, you saw the game, you watched it, and with the eye test, the Nets aren't playing defense, but the numbers are actually even worse. When you look at their league rankings, they're worst in opponents' points per game, worst in defensive rating, and worst on paint points per game. I mean, that's worse. There's a lot of bad teams in the NBA, and I'm glad you brought up James Harden because he took 14 shots. Kyrie Irving took 28. James Harden's taking less shots per game than he has in like 10 seasons. And what do you notice about his play while he's on the floor in offense?
I noticed when he was guarding Blake Griffin one-on-one on the post, he worked harder than he did offensively. When he does not have the ball, he's a drifter. I talked about this in Houston. If you're going to be a part of a big three, that means you got to perform when you don't have the ball. He has to learn how to be a part of the offense. See, a lot of people just play and watch stats. And yeah, he can dribble from three-point line to three-point line. He's an amazing playmaker. So, of course, he's going to get you the dimes. He made a couple of good passes for layups and dunks to people and kickouts. But when Kyrie is initiating the offense or Joe Harris has the nerve to take one or two dribbles, and I'm being sarcastic there, he was like Jim Boeheim was on the show. He was just picking his nose. And you can't have that. You just can't have that.
There shouldn't be a game in which James Harden plays and Kevin Durant doesn't when James Harden takes 4 threes. Like that just shouldn't happen, especially with how proficient and prolific he is from the three-point arc. Now, Kyrie Irving played all right at 27 points, but also had 28 shots. But you were there. You were watching closely. What did you notice about his game?
To the left. As a right-handed player, he and Steph Curry do an amazing job of jumping off both feet and finishing with both hands. Like, that's an art that we saw the level of skill from these players just take it to a whole different level. And he took, I believe, 28 shots to score his 27 points. But man, if they're able to really like feature him in a way where he can be more effective with less shots by getting him the ball faster and earlier in the play, he's going to be an unstoppable force as the season progresses.
Now, Jalen, We saw that they're the worst in 3 huge statistical categories. We see James Harden playing completely different. We see Kyrie Irving scoring but not being efficient. But guess what else? I still see him coming out of the East. I still see him coming out of the East. I see this team coming out of the East. I don't care how many bad defensive stats you put up there. They're coming out of the East. And make sure you keep an eye on YouTube because we are coming back with exclusive content just for this platform.
When I get confused and I think about the East, I agree with you. KD is coming out of that conference.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.